What's a story, amigos? This is Kino with some cool stories for today's story time.
Skinny.
In our first story, Litefoot
Much
tells us
bigger.
about a troublemaking owl.
Wayno could not believe what he had heard. Didn't I tell you to be quiet? Didn't I tell you to stay turned around and not to watch me while I work?
Oh, but I know you didn't mean it.
And then, a lazy bear learns a few lessons from a hard-working rabbit.
Bear growled. You plant this field again, Hare. You've tricked me twice, and you owe me one season of both tops and bottoms.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bing, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you.
So, what I want to know is, why do you change colors, Lizzie? You were green a little while ago, and now you're brown. Why'd you do that? Huh? Hey, I know. I have a book around here someplace that's all about animals. I bet it'll tell me why Lizzie changes colors. Now, where did I put it? No, it's not under here. Let me try down here. No, it's gotta be around here someplace. How about over here? Let me see. Oh, brother. I can't find it. Mom!
Yes, Kino?
Have you seen my animal book?
No, I haven't. Maybe you can't find it because your room is a mess. Remember, we have a deal.
I know. I promised my mom I'd clean up my room today.
And Lucy's coming by to pick up the pictures I took for her and to take you to Storytime. She'll be here any minute. When are you going to clean up your room?
Oh, as soon as I get back.
Okay, don't forget, a deal's a deal.
I won't. Oh, brother, I wish I didn't have to clean up my room. I can't help it if it's messy. That's just the way I am. Uh-oh. Gee, that's Lucy. I gotta go.
Hi.
Hi, Lucy. Kino's in his room.
Okay.
Oh, man, where's my hat? I need my hat.
Hi, Kino. You ready to go?
Oh, almost. I can't find my hat.
I'm not surprised.
It's gotta be here someplace.
Kino, it's getting really late.
Oh, no. I need my hat. Oh, brother, I feel so weird without it.
Kino, we really gotta go. I think you'd better look for it later.
Oh, man. Jeez, I can't find anything around this place.
And later at the story place...
So why do moms and dads always want rooms to be neat and clean?
Well, for one thing, when rooms are neat and clean, it's easier to find stuff. Hi, Litefoot.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Jordan. How you doing?
Gee, Kino, you look different somehow.
Oh,
Did you get bigger?
no, I don't think so.
Is it the jacket?
No, it's my hat.
That's it. It's your hat. You always have a hat on.
Well, I couldn't find it. Why does it feel so weird without it anyway?
Well, I guess because you're so used to wearing it.
And why is it so hard to always put everything away where it's supposed to go?
Well, I guess that's because it's work, and sometimes we don't like to work.
And another thing, I've been watching my lizard, Lizzie, all morning. She's a chameleon, and she can change colors. Why does she do that?
her color changes naturally according to whatever she's around. If she's on a green leaf or a brown twig or... People have been wondering why things are the way they are for thousands of years. Would you guys like to hear a story that tries to explain it?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Well, there's a story called Owlines by Frida Gates, and it's a Native American story. It has pictures by Yoshi Miyake. Roweno, master of all spirits and everything maker, made the world and everything in it. Before he built the world's high mountains, before he created the wide deserts or the deep seas, he made the woodlands. Roweno filled the woodlands with wonderful plants, streams, and trees. When he was finished, he looked about and said, "This land is beautiful, but too quiet and still. I shall fill these woodlands with creatures to make movement and sound." He dug out great mounds of earth, moistened them with clear stream water, and began to shape the clay. "These will be birds, to sing and fly among the trees," he said. "And these, animals, to run and play upon the ground." Roweno molded many forms. He gave them small, slitted eyes so they could see, and beaks or muzzles so they could smell, speak. He shaped wings that would someday fly, and feet that would someday run. Roweno gave each of his creatures a name, but he did not finish any of them. He had worked long and hard, and now he wanted to rest. "I will leave you now," he said. "And while I am gone, you will sit and observe the place where you will live. When I return, each of you may choose your colors and however else you wish to be." A long time passed before Roweno again came to the woodlands, but at last he did return. Placing Fox on his large stone work table, Roweno asked, "How would you like to be?" Fox was very clear. "I want red fur, a black nose, and a tail that is long and bushy." Owl, sitting on the ground nearby, called out,
Fox should be yellow, like the sun.
Roweno ignored him. Sparrow was a small bird and wished to hide in the shadows. So, Roweno began to color him speckled brown. He had finished Sparrow's body and was starting to work on his head when Owl cried.
Roweno, wait! Sparrow's beak is too small.
Roweno continued to ignore Owl and went on with his work. Roweno was fixing squirrels' jaws, making them large enough to hold nuts, when Owl spoke again.
Squirrel's ears should be longer.
Roweno glared at Owl. Just as Roweno had completed the last chipmunk stripes, Owl called out,
Chipmunk shouldn't have stripes. Roweno, he should be covered with spots.
Roweno scowled. That Owl is getting on my nerves. Every time Roweno set to work, Owl had something to say.
Wolf should have smaller feet. Beaver's tail should be long and skinny. Mouse should be much bigger.
Finally, Roweno could bear Owl's meddling no longer. He picked up the interfering bird, set him on the work table, and asked irritably, "How would you like to be?" Owl answered at once.
I want red feathers like cardinals.
Lifting his great hands towards the sky, Roweno was about to cover Owl in red feathers when Owl suddenly shouted,
No, not red. Make them blue. Yes, that's what I want. I want blue feathers. Just like blue jays.
Roweno glared at the bird and again raised his hands. But Al stopped him.
Wait, I don't want blue feathers either. Actually, I don't believe I should have feathers at all. I really should be covered with fur.
Stop, growled Roweno. And he grabbed the irritating bird and hurled him onto a branch high up in a tree. It's obvious that you don't know what you want. So you will sit in this tree until you do. Roweno turned back to his work and picking up another unfinished creature, asked gently, "How would you like to be?" "I'd like a long neck and beautiful white feathers," said Swan.
I want a long neck too.
Al called from the top of the tree. "Be quiet," thundered Roweno, and reaching out one great arm turned Al around. "Now, you troublesome bird," Roweno said, "you will keep quiet. You will face the other way, and you will not watch me while I work." But Al could not keep quiet. He could not stay turned away, and he could not stop watching Roweno work. He twisted and stretched until he was able to see. Roweno had barely started stretching Rabbit's ears before Al spoke again.
Hey, Roweno. Hey, everything maker. You can finish me now. I've decided how I'd like to be.
Roweno was not used to being disobeyed, and he roared. "What did you say? Are you speaking to me?"
I've decided to have a long neck, red feathers, a pointed beak, and a crown of plumes. I want you to make me into the most graceful, the fastest, the most beautiful of all birds.
Roweno could not believe what he had heard. "Didn't I tell you to be quiet? Didn't I tell you to stay turned around and not to watch me while I work?"
Oh, but I know you didn't mean it.
said Al.
Whoa.
"Such impudence," said Roweno, and grabbing Al, threw him onto the work table. He stuffed the bird's head deep into his body, yanked both ears so they stood straight up, and shook him so hard that Al's eyes grew large with fright. Finally, Roweno dunked Al in the mud, coloring his feathers dull brown.
Whoa.
"Now," said Roweno, "your neck is short enough so that you will watch only what is in front of you, and your ears are open enough to hear when you are told what you are not to do. Your eyes are big enough to see in the dark, and your feathers are dull, for you will seldom be seen. And because I work only by day, you will be awake only at night." When Roweno let Al go, the frightened bird spread his new wings, and hooting, flew far into the distant woodlands. Now, Roweno could work in peace. He finished all the rest of his woodland creatures, admired his work, and went off to create the rest of the world. As for Al, to this day, he makes his home deep inside the woodlands, where he sleeps all day, is awake all night, and is seldom seen. The end.
Oh. Well, how did the owl end up being an owl?
How did he end up being an owl?
What do you think?
How did he go from being mud to being Al in the way that he looks right now?
Because Roweno colored it.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything about him, his eyes, his ears, his color, was because of his ears being able to hear now when he was told what to do and not to do, and his eyes being able to see only in front of him because Roweno kept turning him around, huh?
Yeah.
So that he would not be seen very easily, he was dull and brown so that he would blend in with the forest.
What did you think that owl was like, Judson? Did you like him? Did you like the owl?
What was he like in the story?
Well, he was bossy.
Yeah. What else?
He kept telling the Indian what to do.
Yeah, that's
Rowena,
true.
huh?
Yeah, he kept telling Rowena everything to do. He was really pushy.
What do you think, if the owl could choose how he wanted to be again, what do you think he would choose?
Nice.
I think he'd be a lot nicer, huh?
Yeah, he probably would.
Yes.
He wouldn't get into so much trouble that way.
Yeah.
I really like stories about animals and stuff. I have this book at home that's all about animals and what they do and why they're the way they are, except, well, I couldn't find it.
You couldn't.
No, It's somewhere in my room, I think, but you see, I'm sort of naturally messy.
Lost it.
Yeah, I'm kind of messy.
Imagine that, huh?
How about you guys? Are you really messy or just a little bit messy?
A lot messy.
You're a lot messy,
about you?
Jordan?
A lot messy.
Are you? Me too.
Well, you can change your ways if you want to.
You mean I could make myself naturally neat?
Sure, but you have to want to.
Maybe.
Would you like to hear a story about a bear who had to change his ways?
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, good. It's called Tops and Bottoms, and it's by Janet Stevens. Ready?
Ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Once upon a time, there lived a very lazy bear who had lots of money and lots of land. His father had been a hard worker and a smart business bear, and he had given all of his wealth to his son. All Bear wanted to do was sleep. Not far down the road lived a hare. Although Hare was clever, he sometimes got into trouble. He had once owned land too, but now he had nothing. He had lost a risky bet with a tortoise and had sold all of his land to Bear to pay off the debt. Hare and his family were in very bad shape. The children are so hungry, Father Hare. We must think of something, Mrs. Hare cried one day. So, Hare and Mrs. Hare put their heads together and cooked up a plan. The next day, Hare hopped down the road to Bear's house. Bear, of course, was asleep. Hello, Bear. Wake up. It's your neighbor, Hare. And I have an idea. Bear opened one eye and grunted. We can be business partners, Hare said. All we need is this field right here in front of your house. I'll do the hard work of planting and harvesting, and we can split the profit right down the middle. Yes, sir, Bear. We're in this together. I'll work and you sleep. Huh? Said Bear. So what'll it be, Bear? Asked Hare. The top half or the bottom half? It's up to you. Tops or bottoms? Let's see, Bear said with a yawn. I'll take the top half. Right. Tops. Hare smiled. It's a done deal, Bear. So Bear went back to sleep. And Hare and his family went to work. Hare planted, Mrs. Hare watered, and everyone weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the tops, and I get the bottoms." Hare and his family dug up the carrots, the radishes, and the beets. Hare plucked off all the tops, tossed them into a pile for Bear, and put the bottoms aside for himself. Bear stared at his pile. But here, all the best parts are in your half. You chose the tops, Bear, Hare said. Now, Hare, you've tricked me. You plant this field again, and this season, I want the bottoms. Hare agreed. It's a done deal, Bear. So, Bear went back to sleep. And Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear. You get the bottoms, and I get the tops." Hare and his family gathered up the lettuce, the broccoli, and the celery. Hare pulled off the bottoms for Bear and put the tops in his own pile. Bear looked at his pile and scowled. "Hare, you have cheated me again." "But Bear," Hare said, "you wanted the bottoms this time." Bear growled. "You plant this field again, Hare. You've tricked me twice, and you owe me one season of both tops and bottoms." "You're right, poor old Bear," sighed Hare. "It's only fair that you get both tops and bottoms this time. It's a done deal, Bear." So, Bear went back to sleep. And Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Then watered and weeded some more. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear. This time you get the tops and the bottoms." There in front of Bear's house lay a high field of corn. Hare and his family yanked up every cornstalk. Hare tugged off the roots at the bottom and the tassels at the top and put them in a pile for Bear. Then he carefully collected the ears of corn in the middle and placed them in his own pile. Bear rubbed his eyes and watched. "See, Bear, you get the tops and the bottoms. I get the middles. Yes, sir, Bear, it's a done deal." By now, Bear was wide awake. "That's it, Hare," he hollered. "From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops, bottoms, and middles." Hare and his family scooped up the corn and hopped down the road toward home. Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare bought back his land with the profit from the crops. He and Mrs. Hare opened up a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear learned to live happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again. The end. Well, what'd you guys think about that story?
It
Did you
was
like it?
great. It was funny.
He kept tricking.
Oh,
I know, huh?
Kept tricking the bear.
But he was smart.
And what was the Hare family like?
Smart.
Hard
Very
workers, huh?
smart, huh?
Yeah, they worked real hard.
What was the bear like?
He was lazy.
What did he like to do all the time?
Sleep.
Yeah, well, the bear was sort of lazy and slept all the time. But then he learned to work for his supper.
Well, you know, my first story pick is about a king who couldn't sleep at all. It's called The Royal Nap. And our other story pick is called The Night of the Stars. And it's a book about how the night sky became filled with stars.
Well, hey, thanks for reading to us, Litefoot. I have to run home as fast as a hare right now, 'cause I have a job to do. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
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 Kino, see you
See ya.
later. And later in Kino's bedroom,
Ah, boy. That's better. I found my hat. It was under my animal book, which was under my clothes, which were under my pillow, which was under my chair. So now I don't feel weird anymore. Oh, and also, I read in my animal book that chameleon lizards change their color so they're harder to see, so other animals won't find them and eat them. Well, of course, you don't have to worry about other animals coming and eating you, Lizzie. So I guess you just change your color for the fun of it. Anyway, I've decided that I'm gonna try to be neater from now on. I'm changing my ways, just like that bear.
Kino,
Yes, Mom.
how about our deal? When are you going to straighten up your room?
Oh, she's gonna be so amazed when I tell her I'm finished. She's gonna say, "Really?" I'm finished, Mom. It's all straightened up perfectly.
Really?
See? Goodbye, everybody. Oh, and keep a story in your heart. Yup, Mom. It's really cleaned up. Really. Boy, oh boy, wasn't that funny, Lizzie? Did you hear that? Huh? Did you hear it? She just couldn't believe that I really cleaned up my room. And look at the place. Man, it is perfect. It's perfect. Look at those books. Look at that lamp. Look at my bed. And you know what? There's nothing underneath the covers. I didn't even sweep everything under the covers the way I did last time. Yeah, you remember. Yep, under here, it's perfect. Also under my bed, nothing. Everything's put away the way it belongs. Ah, man, sometimes I'm so good.
today's Storytime books are Owlines by Frida Gates, illustrated by Yoshi Miyake. Tops and Bottoms, adapted and illustrated by Janet Stevens. The Royal Nap, written by Charles C. Black and illustrated by James Stevenson. And The Night of the Stars, written and illustrated by Douglas Gutierrez and Maria Fernanda Oliver. You can find these and other books at your local library.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bing, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you. Storytime is a production of KCET Los Angeles.